Johnny.
Johnny, nice ring to it.
Really? You like it? Well, if you say so, I'll believe you.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we are looking at this recently remade masterpiece and discovering all those things about the original that even some hardcore fans missed. These are 10 things you didn't know about Metal Gear Solid 3. Let's have a look. Before we continue, we publish content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified of our latest videos. Hack and slash minigame. I'm chucking this one in first because it's way too infamous to not talk about, but its infamy has made it a bit more well known. Still, there's a good chunk of players who will have no idea. After Snake endures Volgan's torture and ends up in the cell, he must later escape. Save and quit the game instead. When you reload your file, you wake up in a nightmare that unfolds as a hack and slash minigame called Guy Savage. I know this sounds like a fake anecdote, but when I was about 10, I did this completely by accident, and it was one of the most confusing moments of my life. For a hidden bonus, it's surprisingly polished, and it was completely redone in the Delta remake. What a nod. Blow up the food storage houses.
Huh? What's that sound?
Here is an interesting tactic that most players are unaware of, especially because it isn't part of the tutorial or any in-game prompts. When you're out there in the jungle doing some shooting, you can also do a fair amount of looting, and one of the places that pops up fairly regularly is food storage sheds, which have rations in them. Use TNT to destroy food storage buildings you find in different areas, and when you return later, the guards will be starving and will always go for any food you toss their way, even poisoned rations. Likewise, you can also use TNT to blow up the military supply depots scattered around the map. It's an odd one because enemies are so easy to just kill with a gun. This is way over the top. Hayter was almost replaced by Russell.
If you're looking for Sokolov, he's not here anymore. Put that thing away, you'll spoil my drink.
Kojima's decision to replace David Hayter with Kiefer Sutherland in Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes sparked loads of different reactions. For some, Hayter's removal felt sudden, but for the 5% of obsessive fans like myself, this was no surprise. Kojima had actually considered a replacement as early as Metal Gear Solid 3, and had tried to replace Hayter so hard it was arguably disrespectful. A huge fan of Escape from New York, Kojima originally wanted Kurt Russell, the inspiration behind many Snake references, to voice Big Boss. Konami even reached out, but Russell reportedly declined, leaving Hayter to continue. Go listen to some interviews with Hayter, the animosity is pretty substantial. Codec heals. One of the best ways to support yourself in the game is completely unknown to most players, and that's the healing channels. MGS3 has a few different hidden codec frequencies or radio frequencies, but the healing channels are easily the most valuable, and they work simply. Tune into the right frequency and a specific song will play, instantly restoring Naked Snake's stamina to full. This trick is especially handy for players chasing a flawless Foxhound run. Keep in mind though that the healing frequencies change depending on the difficulty setting and the area. You can also use secret channels to provide fire support in fights that aren't going that hard. Make Snake throw up. In the pause menu, players can inspect a 3D model of Snake, a showcase of just how detailed his design was for the PlayStation 2 era. Spin the model around quickly for long enough, and when you exit the menu, Snake will actually vomit. His spew drains a large chunk of stamina, so it's wise to keep food on hand to recover. Gross as it may be, this little Easter egg has a practical use too, as long as he doesn't vomit up the Easter egg. Classic vomit joke. The fear was meant to be right. Raiden's design has always divided fans. He's softer and more inexperienced than the series' previous protagonist, Solid Snake. His blonde hair is as recognizable to him as Snake's bandana is to Solid. Raiden's very presence adds to the unease that defines Metal Gear Solid 2 and applies an intentionality that haters refuse to admit. But his design wasn't always so fitting to this unease. Early concept art for Sons of Liberty shows Raiden with a look nearly identical to the Fear from Snake Eater. While his personality would have probably stayed closer to the Raiden that we know, that manic, unsettling design would hardly have suited the story the same way. The Fear fits this design far better, and maybe that's just the broken arms that make it work.
It is time for you to feel the fear.
End the Sorrow boss fight early.
Are you one of the Cobras?
The length of the encounter with the Sorrow depends on how many enemies the player has killed up to that point, potentially dragging on endlessly. I forgot this in my recent playthrough and it went on forever. Thankfully, you don't actually need to endure every ghostly apparition to finish the sequence. Since Snake retains his weapons during the near-death experience, you can simply fire an RPG at yourself to deplete your health, then use the revival pill to skip straight to the end. Cutscene with Johnny.
I guess not all Americans are dogs.
You mean it?
Yeah.
Johnny Sasaki pops up in nearly every entry of the series, but with MGS3 taking place decades before MGS 1, 2, and 4, there was no way he could be there. His grandfather, however, yeah, f it, let's just call him Johnny. Johnny Sasaki's grandfather, Johnny, is the guard watching over Snake's cell after the torture sequence. If you keep tossing back the food he offers, a hidden cutscene will trigger where Johnny strikes up a conversation and even shows Snake a picture of his child, Johnny's dad. And take a wild guess what Johnny's dad's name was. Steven. Isn't that weird? I'm lying, he's also called Johnny.
My dad's a Johnny, and my son's son will probably be a Johnny too.
The whole clan of Johnnies.
Killing the end before the boss fight.
I'm leaving him to you, the Fear.
The end can be one of the most frustrating bosses if you don't have a proper strategy. Obviously, there's the more well-known secret that you can just wait 2 weeks, or alternatively change your PS2's internal clock and he'll simply die. But there's a clever way to skip the fight altogether. Right after the cutscene featuring him alongside Ocelot, the boss, the Fear, and Volgan, you can pull out a sniper rifle and take him out while he's still sitting in his wheelchair, before he's wheeled away. Amusingly, the resulting explosion sends a wheel flying towards Snake, which can actually deal pretty hefty damage. If you do this, the later boss fight is replaced with an Ocelot unit instead. I had no idea this was even possible. I'm definitely going to try this in Delta. Revolver Ocelot is the boss's son.
So this is the legendary boss.
Huh?
We meet at last.
Revolver Ocelot is undeniably one of the most memorable characters in the Metal Gear Solid saga. Whether cast as an ally or an adversary, the stylish sharpshooter is tied to the most pivotal moments in the series. His story reaches its height in Metal Gear Solid 4, where he openly opposes the boss's legacy. That conflict becomes even more tragic once it's revealed Ocelot is the boss's son. In Snake Eater, she mentions giving birth in the middle of battle, though the child's identity is never confirmed, only hinted at through a hidden codec exchange with Eva after fighting Ocelot. It's a subtle but devastating revelation that reverberates through the rest of the series. It's also worth pointing out that this means the Sorrow is his dad. Weird, right? Oh, and his mum slaps him. Wild. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from MojoPlays and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of our latest videos.